In today's video, guys, we're going to be taking a look at how to get an abundance of blooms on your clematis vines. We're going to take a look at the things that you can do, such as mulching, pruning, when to feed them, where to plant them, companion plants, and all of that, to make sure that they are healthy and that they can give you their very, very best. My name is Marlene. Welcome to my home and garden channel. Now let's take a look at these plants. So clematis are perennial vines that produce beautiful flowers. There are over 300 different species of them, and boy, are they gorgeous. Now, they're evergreen ones, they're deciduous ones, just all different types. But the ones that we're going to be looking at specifically are the large flower ones, because that's the type that I have, and those are the ones that I see in my area. And they grow from growing zones 4 to 11, which is great. That's actually quite a wide range, for a plant, and we absolutely love that. They like to have well-drained, neutral to alkaline soil, so that's something you'll want to bear in mind as well, which we'll talk a little bit further in the video. But look how many they have here, and they have some of the most unusual names, I will say. Pink Fantasy, Vagabond, Rogue Cardinal, First Lady. I mean, there's just so many different ones, and you can see they come, some of them are like, they have like a little bit of a stripe, and some of them they have a solid color, and they're just so beautiful. And of course, they are kind of like a star shape in a sense. Very, very beautiful. And of course, you'll see them at your garden center with these little tags on them that give you information on the care for them. And they have two types here, some of them that are early spring bloomers, and some that bloom late spring or early summer. This is the one that I have right here, and I think this is a Nelly Moser that I have at my flower box. You can see little stripes in the center, and they are just so, so gorgeous. So when do you plant these guys? Well, and typically the garden center is a good clue. Usually they're available in the early spring, sometimes late winters when you'll see them there. So that's a good time to plant them, because when you do plant them in the early spring, then they don't have to worry about the heat of summer and being established at that point. And also in the early fall you'll see them as well, and that way they get established enough so that when the weather gets cold for winter, they are already good to go and established, and then they just go dormant, they go to sleep, and they wake up back in the springtime. Now, clematis can also be planted in containers, not just your flower beds, but make sure that your containers are large and that they have holes in the bottom. Ceramics are wonderful for them, but they can be a little bit pricey. So if they're not in your price range, you can always put them in resins like these, which is very pretty, or you can put them in plastic containers. For me, my least favorite for them would be the terracotta pots, unless they are sealed, because they tend to dry out, and clematis, they do not like to have their roots dry. And these are the gorgeous ones that I was telling you about at my mailbox. I just absolutely love them. Now, they do have the climbing habit, as I said before, and they're actually called Queen of Climbers or Queen of the Vines. Isn't that something? So you'll notice that they actually come at the garden centers with a little bit of a trellis there for you. Of course, that's not going to keep them for too long, but at least it's something to start with. I remember when I got mine, it was actually a wooden trellis that they had put it on. And they're a little bit different because they don't, climb from tendrils. They actually wrap the base up, like the leaf stalk. That's what they wrap around whatever they're going against. And they just, come on up and they do their thing, and they're wonderful once they're established, and they really take off for you. So that being said, there are many different options of trellises available. You can get them in your garden center. You can get them online, just whatever works best for you. And if you're that, creative, you can even make one for yourself out of wood or whatever it is that, you have access to. They will need a little bit of help though to start, kind of like tie them to the trellis. So you can get things like these, like little tapes, plant tapes, or ties, depending on what they call them. And I'll link some of these for you. You can get them online if you wanted to get them to start your clematis off. Now, these ones right here, we've been very, very busy. So many things going on in our garden and our yard that I didn't get to these quickly enough. I did enjoy my tulips, of course, and you may have seen my tulip video a few weeks ago. So they're a little off to the side, but it's very easy. Just lean them towards it and they'll turn themselves towards the sun. So not too much to worry about there, if that happens to you as well. Now, what they love is they love to have their roots to be kept cool. So the good idea is to maybe put some type of a companion plant next to them. In most cases, you could put a perennial, but it can be annuals as well too. That's going to help them out, because they're best in part shade where, they get afternoon sun is not as much on them. morning sun, not so much afternoon. If they're in full sun, then a companion plant. These are coneflowers right here that helps them out so much. So, these come up really up and up when it's in the summertime and it's really hot, which is when they need the most protection because it's so warm at that point. And of course, the coneflowers, they also bring in pollinators as well. So, they also get that coming to help them to pollinate as well. So it's doing double duty there. Of course, I love coneflowers if you've been following my channel for a while. The next one would be climbing roses. I'm sorry, not climbing roses, ground cover roses. So they basically are low lying in a sense, not too high, and they're going to offer the shade that your clematis would need. And so that way, and they love sun. So if it's in a sunny area, they're going to be doing double duty, looking beautiful, combining so well with them, and at the same time offering them that cooling that they would like at the roots. This is hydrangeas, and hydrangeas are so perfect for them because hydrangeas also do not prefer the afternoon sun when it's really, really warm on them. They don't do as well when they're placed in those areas. So because they have that similar type of a need, they work very, very well together. And these, by the way, these are mop head hydrangeas, which are a little bit different than maybe like, say, your panicle or your limelights that prefer full sun all day. These pretty much want that afternoon shade, so they're perfect together. There's also options like this here. This is liriope. This is it's not really a grass, but it looks like one, and that's what I started off with the very first time that I had my clematis. And then, after a while, I changed it out to a few different types of plants, and now I'm at the coneflowers. Now, mulching is the next thing. It's important to mulch them about 2 inches at least of thickness around them. Just back it off a little bit off the main stem. And if you put that there, it's going to help a lot, especially if you didn't have a companion plant there. And there are so many different types of mulch that you can choose, depending on what your color scheme is, you can get it and it should work very, very well for you. And I just wanted to take a moment to say, if you've never subscribed to my channel before, I do hope that you'll hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell twice so you never miss an upload. And it's just a wonderful journey to come along and see all these wonderful flowers as well as fruits and veggies, because I do those too. And I also love the exchange of ideas with fellow gardeners because we are here to learn from each other. Of course, I don't know everything, so I love when you give me feedback about that as well too. Things that I can also tell my viewers as well, as we journey along. The next thing is food. They like a lot of potassium because it helps them to bloom. So you'll want to get a plant food that's, it's like a bloom enhancer, blooming enhancer, any name that says, about blooms especially, that's the kind that you want. And typically they're lower in nitrogen because they don't need as much of that. So you'll just mix it out like this one here. And this is just an example. And then I'm pouring it to show you on some pansies right here. But this is how you would feed your clematis. You can use banana peel water. That's also another good one as well too. Now, if the soil is very acidic in your area, because they like alkaline soil, you can also get some wood ashes and mix in with the soil as well, and that will help to get some of the acidity out of the soil. But if you're not too keen on doing that, or if you're not too sure, I'd say just leave it alone. Don't even worry about it. The next thing is pruning. You always want to make sure that you have a nice sharp pair of pruners, and I'll link these in the description box where you can get similar types online. And what I will say is, within the first year, you may not want to prune them at all. Just let the plant come up a little bit and just leave it be. Once the first year has passed, then, as they would say, all bets are off. It's time to start pruning them. And you can prune them heavily. Like in the later part of the spring to early summer, sometimes I'll see like the blooms are fading out a little bit. Some years they do, some years they don't. But you can just, keep an eye on them and see how they're doing. This is what a seed head looks like right here for them. Very unusual looking, right, guys? But anyway, once that time has passed and they start to go down like this, you can go in and give them a hard prune. Maybe leave about, say, I'd say maybe 8 to 12 inches down below, because these types that we're looking at here, they bloom again in the fall. So if you go in and you cut them back, they'll be perfect. Especially if they're not going to be kind of tidy, at like your mailbox or something like that. And it's good to just go in and clear it out a little bit, or maybe even take off half of the plant. So you can prune them at that point and they'll bloom again for you and give you some wonderful, fabulous flowers. As you can see, I'm doing that here, just taking them out, and you can cut first and pull them off the trellis. And then you'll have your wonderful blooms again. The perfect time to cut them though would be late winter to early spring. When they're dormant, you just go in and you just cut. Make sure you have a few nodes, little bumps on there where the leaves would come off, about 8 inches or so, and they'll be perfect, and they'll just start coming up back once the spring comes around. You can see how they're looking here, along with the tulips. So it's good if you can, just plant some bulbs. The bulbs don't bother them at all. Just plant some bulbs around them to help to beautify the space until they come up. And I really did enjoy my tulips. These ones right here, you may have seen the previous video where I talked about them. But yes, they help to uplift the area while they're coming up. And guys, this would not be a time to prune them at all because they're setting in the buds. So you do not want to mess with them when they get to this point. Otherwise, just wait until they bloom, then you can cut them. And if you like this t-shirt, or you just wanted to show extra support to my channel, you can get one on the tab that says shop, or you can just look where the little shopping bag is and you can get one that way. And if you look closely, you'll see that they have clematis on them. And you can choose whatever color you want, and the fit is standard. So thank you all so much in advance. So as you can see, they're available in these little containers in your garden center, and they do vary by price. The bigger it is, the larger the price is going to be. But anyway, when you get them, the main thing is that when you're going to be planting them, make sure that the hole that you're putting them in, whether it's in the ground or in a container, it's twice as wide as the container that you bought them in. And just a little bit deeper because you will need to cover the root ball completely because they don't like to have the top exposed. Just that maybe like a little bit, an inch below the surface, and you should be good to go. As far as watering needs go, you'll want to make sure that the soil is moist but not soggy because you don't want them to have root rot, and it'll help to keep them cool. Now, if you're giving them not enough water, or they're, kind of, having a little bit of a hard time with the heat, you'll notice that the colors are going to be pale for your darker colored ones. So that's a sign that they're struggling a little bit. They should be dark. If they should be dark like this, then they should not look like that. They should be nice and healthy. Sometimes wind though can actually affect them if it's excessive. So that's something to bear in mind too as far as your location goes. Other than that, they do pretty well. And I just think that, and let's just summarize, guys. There are 4 main things to bear in mind when you're trying to get a lot of blooms from them. One is to prune them at the right time. Put them in full sun with a companion at the root part, or put them in part shade where they are avoiding the afternoon sun. Keep the soil moist, but not soggy. So in other words, it doesn't dry out to powdery. And you'll want to feed them in the early spring and periodically, as they bloom and they go along. So I hope that this was helpful to you. I thank you so much for watching, and I do hope to see you in the next video. Enjoy your clematis.